Today on the Chad Slagle Show, coaching you to and through retirement. We're going to discuss why you need to think outside the box when it comes to building your plan for retirement. And on our Coach's Corner today, we're going to go over 4 reasons why you should invest outside of your 401k and other work-related plans. And on our Chalk Talk segment today, we're going to show you how to resolve your retirement plan by diversifying your portfolio. So sit back, relax, and learn. The Chad Slagle Show starts now. I'm Chad Slagle. I believe financial planning is about educating people and empowering them to make better decisions with their hard-earned dollars. Coaching gives me satisfaction from watching a player succeed and get better. You need an experienced team around you. The best coaches have great assistant coaches. I have brought a lot of the techniques and structure I learned from playing and coaching football and apply them to the world of investing. My goal now is to coach as many individuals and families as I can on how to get successfully to and through retirement. Welcome into the Chad Slagle Show, coaching you to and through retirement. I'm the coach, Chad Slagle, here with my colleague, Chad Tobin. And today on the Clipboard segment, we're going to discuss why you need to think outside the box when it comes to building your plan for retirement. And we talk about thinking outside the box, it simply means that you're willing to consider different solutions and methods for reaching your desired outcome. For those of you that are retired or getting ready to retire in the next few years, I think it's safe to say that your desired outcome is a happy and prosperous life in retirement. That's what we all want. If everyone just accepted, though, that things the way they are and didn't make changes, then there would never be any innovation or improvement in the world. Think about this. If Thomas Edison had shrugged off and figured things were good enough the way they were with gas lamps, light bulbs, and the electricity to power them might never have been developed. If he didn't think outside the box, the world could literally be a very dim place. If you view things as unchangeable, then nothing will ever change for the better. So how does change relate to your retirement? Well, as many of you know today, 401ks and company plans have been the forefront of retirement vehicles in the last decade of the last 10, 20 years. Pensions are continuing to go away, and many people's largest asset is their 401k or company plan. And most people that think that continuing to pump money into that 401k until they retire will be the ultimate way to be prepared for retirement. But today, we want to show you that there are other ways outside of your 401k and company plans that might benefit you more in retirement and help you be well-rounded, if you will, as you get closer to retirement, Chad.
Yeah, and I think, 401ks and company plans, these are great vehicles. They, when they kind of came in and started to really take over the place of kind of traditional pension plans, it was still a good thing, and they're great things. But what we're saying is, taking advantage of everything in that company plan to its max, along with that company match. But outside of there, there's other ways to save and really, kind of put you in a better place when you do retire if you do other things outside of that 401k in addition.
And these 401ks were started in the late 70s, so you have to continue to evolve and change. And I'm constantly preaching, and we're constantly preaching, Chad, to our teams here at Slagle Financial, and of course to our families, that you really have to embrace change and you have to continue and evolve, especially that the world that we're living in right now. So today what we want to do is we want to discuss 4 reasons you may want to invest outside of your 401k and company plans. And later on in the show, then we're going to show you how to resolve your retirement plan by diversifying your portfolio.
Yeah, and I think, understanding that there are other ideas, other ways to maybe sock some money away that can really benefit you when you do pull that trigger and retire.
When we return on the Coach's Corner, we're going to go over 4 reasons why you should invest outside of your 401k and other work-related plans. We'll be right back. The number one concern of retirees today is outliving their hard-earned dollars. It is more important now than ever to educate and empower yourself to make better decisions with your money than it has taken you 30 to 40 years to accumulate. How do you do this? By using our financial GPS, our guided planning system. This is a 4-step process to help get you successfully to and through retirement. The first step in this process is to create clarity. Here we will help identify your goals as well as your concerns and identify what you want to accomplish in retirement. The second step, we will analyze the risk you're taking with your current portfolio, and this step will also identify exactly what you are paying in fees. In the third step, we will evaluate and assess your current plan and help identify the gap between the missing pieces. And in the fourth and final step, This is where we will work together to implement a plan of action to accomplish your retirement goals. And this process can take place at any one of our convenient locations in Missouri, at our Creve Coeur and Sunset Hills offices, or in Illinois at our Edwardsville, Springfield, and Jacksonville locations. So call now to get set up on the right path on your journey through retirement. We're back here with my colleague Chad Tobin, and today on the Coach's Corner, we're going to go over 4 reasons why you should invest outside of your 401k and other company plans. Before we discuss why you may want to invest outside of your 401k or company plans, though, we want to be clear that they do offer advantages while you're working, and you need to take advantage of that. They allow you to defer taxes as you're working. Many times your employer will fund or match those contributions, so that's free money that they're giving you. And they have convenient and automated deposits, and the IRS discourages 401k withdrawals prior to age 59.5, which is actually a good thing for anyone who has trouble saving. However, once you get closer to retirement or in retirement, you want to start thinking differently about your money, and maybe you need to start making some changes on the way that you invest. So that's why we want to go over 4 reasons why at this stage of your life it might make sense to invest outside of your 401k or company plans, Chad, or have different buckets outside of your retirement accounts that you may have set up through work.
Well, and I think just looking at your kind of the life cycle of when you get married, you kind of have kids, and then all of a sudden you're an empty nester, and then all of a sudden looking down the face of retirement. So, with that life cycle, a lot of things are changing, and your mindset when it comes to your investment dollars also change. So, understanding some of these different areas outside of the 401k, and then also inside and areas that you can take advantage of because of that mindset shift.
Maybe do a better job inside of that 401k or company plan. So let's jump in and discuss the first reason to invest some extra monies outside of your 401k or company plan would be number 1, inside of your 401k or company plan, as many of you know, you're very limited in your investment options. Investment options within your 401k are usually limited to 10 or 20 mutual funds, or what we call target date funds as well. Not only are you limited inside of these 401ks, but a lot of times you'll see high fees on some of the mutual funds or sub-accounts you have inside these accounts. And until 2012, fees did not have to be disclosed in 401ks, Chad. So for over 30 years, they did not have to tell you what you were paying in fees inside of these accounts. And over 30 years, a 1% to 2% fee can be pretty high. So those are things that you want to make sure that you're aware of and understand what kind of limitations you have inside of those 401ks and company plans.
Because also outside of that, you're able to maybe reduce fees or, really kind of focus on those fees. And I think, years ago, we used to talk about Mr. Bogle, the founder of Vanguard. He actually put out an article that talked about the hidden fees inside these 401ks. And over a 20, 30, 40-year period, those fees were adding up to a few hundreds of thousands of dollars that could stay in that account as opposed to going out in fees. So really understanding, what you're limited in there, and then the fees inside these 401ks, where the Department of Labor in 2012 actually made us be aware of those more.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars coming out of your pocket. Is very important to take advantage of and understand how that is working. Educate yourself on what that looks like inside each one of your accounts, because they're all different. The second reason is to invest outside of your 401k or company plan is what we call tax diversification. Your 401k or company plan distributions in retirement are taxed as regular income. That's because you've been putting tax-free money into the account for, as we mentioned, 20, 30, maybe 40 years, and that cash has grown over time without year-to-year tax implications. So once you retire, the IRS is ready to start collecting or sharing of that wealth. And what we often talk about, Chad, is the IRS or the government allows you to save tax on the seed so they can tax the crop later on in life. And you have to understand, most people, I would say 10, 20 years ago, pump as much money you can as your 401k or your IRA, because when you retire, you're probably going to be in a lower tax bracket than what you are when you're working. And what we find now, Chad, with more and more of our clients is they're actually in the same, or maybe even they have more income coming in when they did retire, because they have all these different avenues where that money's coming from.
Yeah, and I think, you look at to keep it simple, this taxable bucket, that 401k or company plan that you're putting pre-tax dollars in, forward thinking. I mean, over the next 5 or so years, with the times we're having, tax rates are probably not going to go down. They're probably going to go up. So for you to draw a dollar out 10 years from now versus today, you're probably going to pay a lot more in taxes. So I think tax planning with some of these qualified accounts in your company plans right now is so important to do.
And that leads us to the next point. Limited or little control you have outside of your 401k or company plans. As we mentioned earlier, the IRS asks you, which is a good thing if you're having problems saving money, is you can't touch this money till you're 59 and a half unless you want to have a 10% penalty from the IRS. So you're limited. You really can't touch this money till you're 59 and a half. Now, if you're retiring prior to this and you need a way around it, let's say what's happening now, Chad, is a lot of people are getting laid off, are getting early retirement. Is there a way that you can get to that money? Yes, there is a way that you can draw that money out, but you're very limited, and that's what's called a 72T. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later that you can file for. But again, when you do that, there are limitations that you have on your accounts. So you have very little control of when your company maybe freezes the 401k. Another thing we're finding with a lot of these 401ks or company plans right now, because of the economic times that we're in, a lot of employers are saying, hey, we're not putting money into your 401k anymore. We're freezing those 401ks, which is a huge hindrance to you if you're trying to save for retirement.
Yeah, and I think, just some of the changes that we've seen, employer plans bring to the employees and kind of change the game midstream. So, this is important, and we've actually had clients go in that blackout period where all of a sudden they thought they were able to get to their money, and now the plan's frozen, the money's frozen, and they're not able to. So.
And our last point that we want to talk about is legacy planning. We talk about the Secure Act changing multi-generational IRAs are now where your beneficiaries in the past, before the Secure Act this year took effect, your beneficiaries could take that lump sum that you leave them when you pass away. And of course, they have to draw that money out in the year after you pass away, where they could take that money and then they could stretch it out over their life expectancy. Now, Chad, with the Secure Act, now your beneficiaries have to draw that money out over a 10-year period. So that's a huge tax burden that your beneficiaries are going to be faced with as well.
And actually just this morning talking with a client whose mother-in-law had passed away and just kind of going through some of these new tax changes and laws when it comes to, qualified monies. And that's huge. You got 4 siblings, $1 million, you got to take all that money out over a 10-year period, but you got to understand the new rules and really be able to think outside the box as you're moving forward. Speaking
of outside the box and bettering yourself, to download our free white paper today about your retirement income planning checklist, visit www.schlegelfinancial.com/empower you. Coming up on Chalk Talk, we're going to show you how to resolve your retirement plan by diversifying your portfolio. We'll be right back.
He's such an involved dad. He's always telling the kids stories. I remember when so-and-so said I couldn't do this or I didn't make this team. That's what drives him. In our family, we always tell our kids to stick up for each other, stand behind one another. He feels it's his role to provide, keep us safe, and to make sure that the kids are taken care of. A lot of Chad's clients have the same traditional values, and he bonds with them. Each family has a different set of circumstances, and each family is unique and different. The common thread between all of Chad's clients is that they want the best for their family, just as he would our own family.
Welcome back into the Chad Schlegel Show, coaching you to and through retirement. So we just discussed the 4 reasons why you should invest outside of your 401k and other work-related plans. Now we're going to show you how to resolve your retirement plan by diversifying your portfolio. Once you get closer to retirement, you have to start thinking differently about your money. You have to start thinking outside the box, if you will. And the monies that you've worked the past 30 to 40 years to accumulate, you've been accustomed to putting money into your 401k or company plan each and every pay period so that one day you have that nest egg big enough to support you in retirement. But when that big day comes, or even when you say in the near future, let's say the next 3 to 5 years, you have to start thinking differently about your money. You probably do not want to invest as risky as you did while you're working. You want to start insulating your portfolio from a downturn in the market, because now your needs and goals are changing. So now we want to show you how to resolve your retirement plan by diversifying your portfolio in retirement. As I talked about earlier, Chad, setting up those different buckets. It's not just about having that 401k and retirement account. You also have to have other buckets of money set up in case certain situations would arise in retirement, because as we know, even in retirement, life happens.
Yeah, and I think, it's for a lot of people, it's easy. That 401k, really out of sight, out of mind, and that's the only thing you're doing to save and really plan for retirement. The other things are going to be tough. It's going to require discipline, but you've got to make that change. And a lot of times when change is hard, but change is necessary to get you into a better place.
So the first way to resolve your retirement plan and to get into a better place is to understand what an in-service withdrawal is and its benefits. So what that means is if you're still working and you're over 59 and a half and you're going to work till 62, 65, maybe even 70 years of age, if you're over 59 and a half, you can roll over a portion of your 401k or all of your 401k or company plan into an IRA. Now understand, you're taking that money from your 401k or company plan, you're repositioning it over into an IRA. There's no tax consequences to do so. You're still keeping your 401k or company plan open. You're still pumping money in that because hopefully your employer is still matching you. But what you're doing now is saying, hey, I'm taking some of this money, I'm putting it into an IRA with no tax consequences. Why? Because it's better for me. And I think the biggest thing, Chad, it allows you to take control of that money, not your employer.
Yeah, I mean, I think, ultimately when you look at it, you're limited in that 401k and company plan and of those investment options. And really, probably 99% of those options are going to be stock market risk related. But as you're getting closer to retirement, you got to understand taking more control of your money, understanding the risk, the fees, the income needs you're going to need from that money in the future. Taking all those things in consideration, that in-service withdrawal allows you to kind of put that plan together.
So again, the three things it's going to do: number one, it's going to allow you to be in control of your money, not your employer. Number two, it's going to give you a lot more investing options. As we mentioned earlier, inside of your 401k, you may have 20 to 30 mutual funds or target date funds, and that's it. And number three, and probably the biggest one, Chad, a lot more safe havens outside of that 401k in an IRA, especially because interest rates now are at zero. And from what the Fed says, they're going to keep them at zero probably through 2022.
Yeah, and I think, taking control, and when it comes to those safe havens, we've all just went through one of the worst quarters in stock market history. And so it kind of opens your eyes about how important it is to protect those monies you've worked so hard for.
The second way to resolve your retirement plan is by knowing the other options outside of 401k. So if you're going to take that money and you're going to move it out of your IRA or 401k or other company plans into an IRA, what other options are out there? So outside of your IRA, now you have the whole financial universe at your fingertips to do what is best for you. You have things such as stocks. You can invest in individual stocks, good dividend-paying stocks that are paying that 4 to 6% dividend every year, regardless of whether the market goes up or down. Number two, it allows you to invest in debt securities like bonds. Number three, and probably the biggest one today, Chad, because as you mentioned earlier, taxes are going to go up in 2026, Roth IRAs. The 2020 contribution limit to a Roth IRA is $6,000. If you're over 50, you can add an additional $1,000 to that. So you can actually put $7,000 away in your Roth IRA if you're over 50 years of age. Of course, limits you have to understand if you are pumping into your 401k or company plans. The income limits for a single individual, if you make over $139,000 or more, you can't do that. If you're married filing jointly and you make over $206,000, but if you're below those amounts, the other buckets you might want to put into, one of those you might want to put into a Roth IRA, because with the Roth IRA, you pay taxes up front as you would in the ordinary income, but after 5 years, all the growth you get on that account is tax-free to you and to your beneficiaries.
Yeah, and I think, I'll add to that Roth as well, that many of you, that 401k and company plan, you may have a Roth portion that's available to you. Instead of putting it into the pre-tax side, you're putting it into that Roth after-tax side, which then would create the tax-free income down the road. I would say, brokerage accounts, whether you're married, you can open a joint account. You may have, if you're, 55, 60 years of age and you're looking to save some money safely, you look at fixed annuities or maybe some hybrid fixed index annuities to get you more growth but future income. So, a lot of other things when you look at it, and where our mindset goes is if you're going to draw that money, tax-free income in the future is really, really looking very attractive.
And again, Chad, all these things that we talk about here, it's not cookie cutter. Everybody's different. All depends on your situation and what you want to accomplish as you get closer to retirement and once you do retire. The other thing you have to understand is if you need to get to your money before you're 59 and a half, for whatever reason, you can file for a 72T hardship. And what that allows you to do, Chad, is to overcome that 10% penalty. Because again, if you try to draw from your retirement accounts before you're 59 and a half, the IRS will impose on you a 10% penalty, but you can get around that with your 401k, 403b, and other company plans is by filing for a 72T. Now again, there are certain qualifications that have to be met, known as SEPP, regulations are substantially equal periodic payments. The owner of the retirement account must take at least 5 of these payments, and these depend on the owner's life expectancy as calculated through IRS-approved methods. So basically what that means is these payments must then occur over a span of 5 years. So once you start this, you can't stop and you have to draw for a minimum of 5 years when you do that. So there are certain stipulations, but understand you can get to that money if you have to in certain situations if you're under 59 and a half.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, something like this, a lot of people don't think they can do it, but you have to really talk to a good advisor, somebody that knows the rules and what you can and can't do. And that 5 year or until you're 59 and a half, it's whichever is longer is what those requirements are as well.
And one of the biggest things, Chad, as we talk about is being forward thinking and understand the tax strategies that you really need to take advantage of right now. As we've been talking to a lot of our clients, we're constantly talking on the TV show and again with our clients with the different Zoom calls and video chats that we're doing is it is already baked into the current legislation that taxes are going to go up in 2006 back to the rates of what they were in 2017. However, now, Chad, with the stimulus and all the things that are going on with the pandemic, trying to get our country, I guess, keep our country's head above water, if you will, we know taxes are going to go up. How much? It could be anywhere from 10 to 20% more than what you're paying now for the same tax bracket. So those are things you have to take into consideration. And there are some planning things that you need to do with the Roth conversions as well as legacy planning.
Yeah, and you mentioned 2006, but you meant 2026 over there when these taxes are set to go up. So, 2 options. You mentioned the Roth conversion and maybe looking at, instead of just taking it all out in 1 year, stretching that over the next 5 years, and some legacy planning. When you're kind of doing some of those conversion strategies, now you're thinking about you, your spouse, your loved ones. There's some legacy planning ways when we talk about conversion strategies. But the bottom line is, we need to now maybe save taxes for you and your family to maybe generate tax-free income down the road.
Good save on the 2026.
Yeah.
To download our free white paper today about your retirement income planning checklist, visit www.schlegelfinancial.com/empoweryou. When we come back on our strategy play, we're going to discuss the different options to create income within your 401k or other company plans. We'll be right back. The number one concern of retirees today is outliving their hard-earned dollars. It is more important now than ever to educate and empower yourself to make better decisions with your money than it has taken you 30 to 40 years to accumulate. How do you do this? By using our Financial GPS, our guided planning system. This is a 4-step process to help get you successfully to and through retirement. The first step in this process is to create clarity. Here we will help identify your goals as well as your concerns and identify what you want to accomplish in retirement. The second step, we will analyze the risk you're taking with your current portfolio, and this step will also identify exactly what you are paying in fees. In the third step, we will evaluate and assess your current plan and help identify the gap between the missing pieces. And in the fourth and final step, this is where we will work together to implement a plan of action to accomplish your retirement goals. And this process can take place at any one of our convenient locations in Missouri, at our Creve Coeur and Sunset Hills offices, or in Illinois at our Edwardsville, Springfield, and Jacksonville locations. So call now to get set up on the right path on your journey through retirement. On this week's strategy play, we're going to discuss the different options to create income within your 401k and really, Chad, how to access your 401ks. And what we find with a lot of retirees and pre-retirees today, their main savings vehicle or their main vehicle for retirement is their 401k or company plans. Even though today on the show we've been talking about how you want to invest outside of that 401k. So if you're one of those individuals or couples who have the majority of your money wrapped up in your 401k or company plans, how can you take control of that money? How can you access that money if you're under 59 and a half? And that's what we're going to talk about here today.
Well, and I think the first one, if you are 59 and a half, maybe looking at retirement in a couple years, you're 59 and a half, 60, you have the majority of your money sitting in that company plan, your 401k. Now all of a sudden, what a lot of people don't realize, at 59 and a half, you have that age-based in-service rollover option that may become available within that company plan, which allows you to roll that money out of your company plan, still keep you contributing in that company plan active into your IRA, no tax consequences, but then you have those options.
So again, what you're doing is you still have your 401k or company plan. You're not changing a thing. You're just taking some of those gains off the table, putting that money into an IRA. That way you have control over that money versus your employer. Also, it's going to give you a lot more investment options other than that 20 to 30 mutual funds or sub-accounts that you're limited to inside of your 401k. And as Chad said, now you can really start creating that family pension, that legacy for you as well as your beneficiaries. Now, if you're unfortunately, let's say you have to access your money before you're 59 and a half. You can do that and avoid the 10% penalty with what's called the 72T option, Chad, or the 72T hardship withdrawal.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of people maybe lost their jobs or and kind of now being tough time to get a new job, but maybe 55 years of age, they're having to tap into this. So, to do that, 72T payments, there's two things to be aware of. If you're under 59 and a half and you started at age 58, you've got to take those payments for 5 years. Or if you're 50 years of age and you start it, you've got to take it until you're 59 and a half, whichever is greater. So, but at the end of the day, it allows you to get money to your bank account without paying that 10% IRS penalty.
And the whole key is whether you're over 59 and a half, under 59 and a half, if you have a nice nest egg built up in those 401k or company plans, you can take control of that money now, no matter where you're at. To get more detailed information on these strategies and how they can work for you, call us now to schedule your 5-point inspection at 888-294-9248 or email us at info@schlegelfinancial.com. Stay with us. We'll be right back with some of the key takeaways from today's show. We've covered a lot today, so let's jump into some of the key takeaways from today. Number one, think outside of the box when it comes to building a plan for your retirement. Number two, understand the benefit of an in-service withdrawal and how to control your retirement. And number three, be aware of the different tax strategies available to help you and your family be successful in retirement. And I think this is one of the biggest things, Chad, that people really need to start taking advantage of now is understanding what those tax strategies are.
And not too often do we get, kind of a little bit of a caution sign, and we have 5 years to really take advantage of some of these strategies. So now is the time to really start looking into some things to better yourself and your family into the future.
To download our free white paper to develop your retirement income planning checklist, visit www.schlegelfinancial.com/empoweryou. For more information about our upcoming educational events, call 888-294-9248 or visit chadslegelshow.com. Remember, folks, success is waking up in the morning, whoever you are, wherever you are, no matter how old or young you are, and bounding out of bed because there's something out there that you love to do, that you believe in, and you can hardly wait to get at it again today. At Schlegel Financial, realize that this is bigger than our team. It's about educating you, the public, and our wonderful clients, and empowering you to make better decisions with your hard-earned dollars. For my colleague Chad Tobin, this is the coach, Chad Schlegel. Thank you very much for joining us. We look forward to visiting with each and every one of you next week.